Good morning, fellow teachers. This is Sarfo-Mensah, owner and founder of Dignify Consulting LLC, and I am back with a brand new video that I think you will enjoy. And today's topic is going to be on dignifying incorrect responses made by your students during an instructional lesson. So what do I mean by dignifying incorrect responses? Well, let's break this down. When we say dignify, we mean that we want to show respect to either a person or towards a thing. In this situation, we're trying to dignify our students. We're trying to show respect to them. And we also know that when they come into the school year, you have some who have what we call a growth mindset, which was a term coined by Carol Dweck, for those who don't know. And what she means by growth mindset is that students believe that they have the capacity or the ability to build their knowledge base around a particular skill or topic or area of interest. Whereas there are some who come into the school year with what we call a fixed mindset. They believe that whatever abilities they have are innate. In other words, if you weren't born a math person, you're never going to master math. If you weren't born a science person, you're never going to build a capacity to become a science person. You are who you are. That's just their mindset. And that's what they believe. So the whole idea is to help students build their growth mindset as we're going through our lessons with them. So just to give you an example of how dignifying an incorrect response works, I want to provide an example of what that could look like. So naturally, I'm going to do a math example because that's where I feel most comfortable, but this could apply to any content area you teach. So let's assume that I have my 7th graders in front of me and we're doing a lesson on one-step equations. And they have this equation, 2x minus 3 is equal to 11. Now, a student might raise their hand and say, wait, Mr. Sarfo-Mensah, this doesn't make sense. And then I'm going to be like, how does that not make sense? Well, the equation says 2 times something minus 3 equals 11. So of course, instead of saying at this point, you're wrong, that's not correct, you don't want to embarrass your student at this point. There's a reason why they believe that this equation reads 2 times a blank number minus 3 equals 11. This is where you come in and you save that student. Make them feel good about their attempt, because guess what? It takes a lot of courage for a student to raise their hand and share their response to the rest of their classmates. So then you figure out, well, why did they have this misunderstanding? So naturally, you have the student explain, so Johnny, why do you think there's something wrong with the way this equation is written? Well, whenever I see that x, that stands for times or multiplication. So right there, the student is thinking that I forgot to put a number after the x, because he's interpreting the x as a multiplication sign as opposed to a variable, which in this case is a missing value for this equation. So now you just tell him, well, you know what? I see where you're coming from, Johnny, and you are right. X is used for multiplication, but in this context, we're doing algebra. So we're using the x to show that it's a missing variable or value. So once you clear that misunderstanding, Johnny doesn't feel as bad about his answer. He's not getting embarrassed by his peers, nor is he getting embarrassed by anybody outside of his circle. So that's just an example of dignifying an incorrect response. And this is something that can apply to any content area. So when you're doing that, before you dismiss a student, find out where the misunderstanding is coming from. Find out the source of that misunderstanding. Because guess what? There was a thought process that took place that ultimately led to them coming with that answer. And we have to acknowledge the student when they make that attempt, because guess what? Students that have fixed mindsets, it takes them a lot of courage. It takes a lot out of them to raise their hand and share their response to the rest of their class, because no one wants to be embarrassed. But it's important for our students to take academic risk. If we don't encourage them when they make mistakes, they're never going to overcome their fears. They're never going to take the risk necessary to build that growth mindset. So as you're going through your lessons, please be mindful of that. Let's dignify students' incorrect responses. Let's make sure that we're showing respect to our students so that they can feel confident in their ability to learn the lesson. So that's all I wanted to share for today. If you have any other ideas for videos that you'd like for me to talk about, any burning topics that you're dying to share and really learn more about, just drop a comment, whether you're on YouTube or Facebook. Just drop a comment down there and we'll see if we can make a video about that. But until then, I want to wish you all a blessed day. Keep inspiring your scholars and keep growing your craft. All right, y'all. Peace.